Great, thank you. Thank you. Member Landry,
Present.
Member Weiner,
Present.
Member Belkacem, Member Stevenson,
Here.
Member Swaminathan, Member Lakshman, Member Pacheco. Here. Member Harper,
Present.
Member Lutz,
Here.
Vice Chair Souza,
Here.
Chair Hernandez. I would note that Chair Hernandez is not present and Vice Chair Souza will be chairing this meeting. So thank you, Chair Souza.
You're very welcome. Do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
Great.
We have.
Thank you. So we're going to move now to item 2, which is public comment. And public comment is reserved for members of the public wishing to give a comment on non-agenda items for today. Members of the public will have 2 to 3 minutes, 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes to give their comment. Are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment today?
There's no members with hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. No members of the public are making a comment at this point. And I'd like to move on to the approval of the minutes, which is item C3. And this would be for the September 15, 2025 meeting agenda. Members, are there any questions? I'd like to recognize Jim.
Looking over the September 15 minutes, I noticed that Member Balkison withdrew her second for approving the July 16 minutes. So we have never approved the July 16 minutes. And if I'm remembering correctly, that was the first time we were seeing the minutes, the action minutes versus the more detailed descriptive minutes. And if you look back and compare the June 16 minutes to the July 14 minutes, the CAC minutes, the June 16 minutes, our June 16 minutes were 7 pages long, and the July minutes were only 3 pages long. So a lot of the details of what happened at the meeting and who was speaking in favor of what items is missing. And that makes it hard for people who didn't make the meeting to know where people stood on actions, what topics were. The votes are obviously recorded and any motions and actions are recorded, but the rest of the detail is lost. And I thought that was a very poor decision. So
we would like to take a vote on recognizing the July minutes again, which would that encompass the September 15 minutes?
That would be your decision, Chair,
That's
to
like-
whether
let's
we want
just-
to separate those votes or.
Yeah, let's separate the votes. So we'll do first because we had a little mishap on the July 2025 minutes. And we'll take that first. Is anybody going to make a motion? Would make a motion for the July to approve the July 2025 minutes?
So moved.
And I'll second.
So-
Member Landry.
1 second.
And this is Jim. I'm going to speak against approving the minutes because they do not include an appropriate level of detail of what happened at that meeting.
Well, it's either yes or no, so we can.
I know, I'm saying no, I'm voting against.
So,
Is that it?
Yeah.
So we have
so that
we
was
have a-
his, that
we
was
have a-
his,
oh,
I'm sorry. And that was his, comment for the discussion of the approval of the July 2025 minutes. And Landry,
Yes, I do concur with Member Lutz that I would like to see, and I realize the minutes take a lot of time and there's a lot of work that goes into the minutes. But I would, to the extent that we can have more in these minutes, for folks to follow the discussion more, besides the votes, I would appreciate it. And I do want to clarify, for instance, I see here, let's just use an example. There's like, for instance, Jessica Tovar, I believe 1 hour, this is on C5, 1 hour. And I guess this is 6 minutes and 37 seconds. So there's a tape that the public can access and go to 1 hour, that reference point, and they will hear the exact discussion. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think that, we should note that the discussion is here. And that the recordings are available for the public to review. Yeah, so,
Yes.
so there is a reference to what actually occurred. It's just not all written out as it
Thank
was in the past. Okay, thank you.
thank you, Ms. Cindy. So at this point, we have a second, and we'd like to call for a vote to approve the July 2025 minutes for the Community Action Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Member Landry,
Yes.
Member Weiner,
Yes.
Member Buxton, oh, excuse me. My apologies. Member Stevenson,
Yes.
Member Pacheco,
Abstain.
Member Harper,
No.
Member Lutz,
No.
Chair Susan,
No.
minutes are not approved.
Thank you, Adrian. Oh. Hi, Vivek. So we just had Vivek arrive, and Vivek, we've been discussing that I don't want to go too far into the depths of this, but we were discussing that in September, we took a vote to approve the minutes for the July 2025 meeting. And one of the members, Member Indira, she withdrew her yes vote for the approval of the minutes because she disagreed with the format and the brevity of the minutes. And so we're taking a vote again.
Okay.
And then we're going to take another vote to do the September 2025 motion.
Okay.
So would you like to participate in that vote,
Yeah,
or should we give you a minute?
yeah.
Vote's
Question or
vote's already-
point of
Go
order?
ahead.
So can I change my vote? Is
Vote's already.
is the vote, it would, huh? Can I change my vote?
Right, we would need to recall the vote.
Okay, because it's still open, right? Or there hasn't been one of the members hasn't voted yet.
Right. I thought the vote had concluded, but
Oh, okay.
the chair, if you would like to,
I don't
retake
want to
the
go
vote
through
under
this again.
circumstances, please.
I'd like to withdraw the entire vote if possible and revote because I don't want to go through the July 2025 minutes again. And that we were very close in the,
Showed it up.
well,
We have done September.
right. Yes, Peter.
I thought we had a discussion at the September 15th meeting about this issue. And that the sense of the meeting was that we wanted the longer minutes from now on.
Right.
So I don't know what the, because I haven't looked, what the minutes of the September 15th meeting look like and whether they adopted the longer form.
Yeah, this is the reason why I want to get the July 2025 vote right for all members that are present.
So I thought we had expressed our views. And the question is whether those views were going to be adopted. If they were, I'm willing to let the July 15th minutes go as an aberration and say, okay, we're done with that. But if they continue to do the short form, when we ask them to do the long form, then it seems to me it's a larger discussion where we need to get some feedback from staff, because I think that this was on advice of council, if they did the shorter form and so on, and that's fine, but we objected. So I guess the question is, what then happened after that, if the September 15th minutes are also the short form?
The September 15th minutes will show that discussion. So we will go through this. So I mean, I believe the only thought that I'm having is that if we reject the minutes, that this will be a statement from the advisory committee. But I think that we're going to go over this anyway. So in the interest of moving along. Yes.
I would also like to say that the body does have the option with a motion to reconsider. An approved motion to reconsider would eliminate the vote that was already taken. And the vote can be taken again if the chair, if with a motion and a second to reconsider.
I believe that would be the proper channel to use. And we would like to, do we need to make a motion to
Motion has to be
reconsider?
motion to seconded.
So
There has to be a vote to reconsider, vote, then a revote.
Motion to reconsider.
I'll second.
okay, great.
Hold on one second, I just recording this.
So we are now in going to restart a vote, or not restart, but we're reconsidering the vote, and we will retake the vote on whether or not to approve the July 2025 minutes.
Yes,
At this
so
time.
we will have a vote to reconsider, and upon approval of that vote, we would then
Right.
vote again on the July minutes.
Okay,
So we have a first. Thank you.
yeah, for the vote to reconsider first.
Thank you. Member Landry,
Yes,
Member Weiner,
Yes.
Member Stevenson,
Yes.
Member Lakshman,
Yes.
Member Pacheco,
Yes.
Member Harper,
Yes.
Member Lutz,
Yes.
Chair Souza.
Yes.
Vote to reconsider is approved. And let me just set this up.
Okay, so at this point, we would like to hear a motion to approve the minutes for July 2025. Thank you, Member Pacheco.
I'll make, well, I'm going to oppose it, but I'm going to vote no, but I'll make a motion to vote on the minutes.
Vote on the
And
minutes.
apologies, I thought that Lakshman you were saying that he was saying that he wanted to vote, so I thought the vote was still open. I apologize. I was distracted while you were making your discussion because I was trying to make my notes with these edited notes line up, and so I didn't hear all that. So literally, that's why I was distracted and I didn't mean to cause all this confusion, but yes.
So at this point, we're asking to move for a motion to have a vote on the July 2025 minutes. And from what I understand, Mr. Pacheco is
Well,
motioning.
Yes.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Great. Just 1 second. Great. Member Landry.
No.
Can we have a discussion first?
Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to have
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes, and public comment.
Public comments, yes. I mean, are there any public comments? No. Okay, we move to member comments.
Just one comment, I'm gonna repeat myself. Literally, why I was not following the discussion is because these notes, the official notes are so limited that I was trying to make them jive up with my chicken scratch notes and I wasn't able to. So my only comment is, yeah, I do believe, as I believe you do as well, that the minutes need to be a little bit fuller.
This is a question for Ed, but he's not here. I thought, and I may be misremembering, that he had a comparison of the action notes and versus the detailed notes. And I don't remember if that was for the June meeting or for the July meeting. And I was wondering if it was for the July meeting, if we could adopt the ones, the minutes he had seen. Or, but he's not here. So. It's a question.
Can I offer a substitute motion? The motion was to approve.
Yes.
Can I have a substitute motion to disapprove them? If we don't approve the minutes, it's one thing. But if we disapprove the minutes, it's showing we really don't like them.
Can we do that? I don't know if that's allowed.
Can we reverse that we targeted? Some had
The motion is-
to approve the minutes, but now we're having another suggestion about disapproving the minutes and having to vote on that. Can we change the wording to that?
No, it would have to be called and get have a vote to call and then a vote on that.
We're in the middle of the vote,
Right.
but
Let's finish the
we
vote.
should, but with a, I would think that the body can create a motion. According to whatever.
Let's continue with this vote. Thank you.
May I please get clarification on what the motion is, please?
To approve the July minutes.
And I'll make one more comment before we vote, is I didn't think Robert's rules allowed you to make a motion to disapprove, so I thought it was like, it was this boilerplate verbiage, otherwise I would have done exactly that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I'm.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Roberts does not like language that is phrased in the negative. You're right.
That's
Yes.
a good point. See, we're all learning.
So should we continue with this
Yes,
motion?
please. Thank you.
Okay. Starting over, Member Landry. Voting to approve the minutes for July.
I'm gonna, you know, I'm going to abstain. I'm sorry.
Member Weiner,
No.
member Stevenson,
Yes.
member Lockwood,
This is to approve the
July,
July, okay, yes.
member Checa,
No.
member Harper,
No.
member Lewis,
No.
Chair Susan.
No.
Minutes are not approved.
Thank you very much for bearing with us, Chair. Clerk. We'll move on to the approval of any comments from the public on the approval of the September 2025 minutes. As there's
There are no hands raised at this time.
no hands raised, I move to the members in. Are there any comments for the September 2025 minutes?
The September minutes appear to be the more detailed form. They're not just the action ones. Am I?
These later minutes were done exactly the same way as the July minutes.
Oh,
There were just more actions.
okay.
Oh,
Yes.
can I, ask something for clarification? When the notes, when the minutes are published on the website, is the, recording available or, next to it or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I'd like to make mention that the July and the September minutes were done under the same format. I don't know why July was so brief and September was 14 pages long, but we haven't made any changes at this point to the minutes, have we? There was discussion about it, but there hasn't been any change, has there?
Since
Chair, if you don't mind, I could speak to that.
Yes, thanks.
Everyone, my name is John Perkins. I'm the legal director here at AVA. And we did, is it not catching me? Very sorry.
Thank you.
And as you know, we did move to action minutes, which you have before you. Now, these are, of course, very professional minutes that Adrian has put together, and they're in line with the way that other agencies behave. Now, we did, I'm not sure if it made it through, it could have been caught in spam filters, but I did reach out to all of you after the previous meeting to let you know that we're applying some of that time towards a automation that will do we're hoping an AI summary that will be more akin to what you had before. That will be supplementary to what we're doing now. These action minutes are appropriate for the work that Adrian does, and also I can't overstate how much time the other minutes took. That didn't happen without consideration. In fact, it was really quite dramatic. So we are in the process of using some of this reclaimed time to find a way to get you a summary, but the action minutes have been chosen for that reason.
May I ask a follow-up question to that?
Of course.
Go ahead, Davis.
Have the meeting minutes for the Board of Directors meetings similarly been scrubbed down to include the outcomes of motions and votes?
Yes, the Board of Directors meeting is also getting action minutes identical to yours.
Got it. Thank you.
One of the reasons I was looking at the September minutes, and they are, as you mentioned, the action minutes. Part of why they are so long is we had lots and lots of motions that were put in and voted on, but the description of the content was, for example, the allocation of budget surplus. There were a motion, a substitute motion, an amendment of the substitute motion, and then finally a vote. But there is, as you say, John, there is no description of what the public comments, the content of the public comments were, or the discussion on the motions and the substitute motions and the amended substitute motions. So there's a lot of actions taken, but there is no record of the content of those discussions.
So I do have to respectfully disagree. We do have a full transcript of the entire meeting.
But the full transcript is not easily available to the public.
No, it's posted with everything else.
The transcript is
It's publicly available, absolutely.
The recording.
on the transcript on the,
The video and the transcript of the video are publicly available, absolutely.
okay. So,
That was one of the considerations in our process.
okay. So what you're saying is somebody could read this and say, I'm interested in the budget the allocation of the budget surplus. They could go to the transcript, find that section, and in there would be the language for and against, the reasons for and against.
Correct, that's correct.
And the citation is there with, I believe the citation is there. And when I say citation, the hour and the minutes, I mean, the hour and the minutes and a second.
I understand that that's the case, yes.
Yes.
It's my understanding that's correct.
And if we went, I didn't download the transcript of the meetings of the prior meetings. But is that retroactively applied or only to where the shift to action minutes happened?
Oh, no, it was always posted.
Okay.
Sorry, it took me a minute to realize what you were asking.
Thank you.
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't
ahead.
realize that the transcript was posted. I've only looked at the minutes that were for the meeting. Between now and next, I've been with my laptop. I'm gonna take a look at the transcript. But my concern was so much is lost without like members of the public's comments. Like you have no idea whether they were screaming no or begging yes, or, from this. So I'll take a look at the transcript. I didn't even know that. It was obvious that there's video is available.
And there's full
timestamps are
video,
there,
yes.
But I did not know the transcript, was also available.
Well, being an AI, starting to use AI, I realize that there's questions you can include to further define what you're getting. Is it possible, or do we even at this point use the question, please summarize public comments and please summarize member comments? Do we use that kind of language when we make the request for AI summary?
So Adrian is currently looking into the best way to go about doing that. I will add, it's unlikely that we will summarize public comment in order to not accidentally misstate it. Instead, the idea is to state that's the subject matter. But we are looking to have a more automated summary of the content of the meeting, of this meeting, rather than public comment of the participant, the members' participation. And I'm sorry, the gentleman also had a question if you are ready.
My question's on something a little different, actually. Adrian, when we met in this room, it was a little different. You didn't have all the noise. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if there's a way to deal with that. There's an enormous amount of, maybe not for those of you who are over there, but at least from
Yeah.
the two of us, there's just an enormous amount of background. I'm just wondering if there's any way to,
We do have white noise machines that may help.
I'm sorry?
We have white noise machines that may help. We can look into that.
It's a fan noise.
We'll need
It's a
to,
fan noise, but
Yes.
it's just, at least over here, it's pretty deafening.
It
Sounded like it just changed right
Now
now.
it just changed because I said that.
Could be the AC. That said, I'd like to bring this back to the minutes. I do think that there are solutions to it and perhaps a quick review of I'm just suggesting a quick review of what AI has pulled out as far as guest comments. And maybe a disclaimer, maybe a way around it, but we do want the the public's comments included. We would like to, because they're very important. We're a community organization, so we would most likely want to honor those comments of people who are coming to the meetings and voicing their opinions. So we would be happy to continue this conversation of the minutes and using newer technologies, which are fantastic, by the way. Sometimes AI is a better writer than I am. Usually AI is a better writer than I am, but at the same time, I understand your trepidation on if it gets it wrong. So that said, it might be a quick review is in order, but I'm not any decision maker here. If anybody else would like to make comments on the minutes, any public comments? No public comments?
there are no hands raised at this time.
Thank you. Any further member comments?
No, I'll just say that, yeah, I agree with you that even like a one sentence synopsis of what the public comment was for or against an action or whatever would be good. But that's it.
Yeah, hopefully that wouldn't take too long. Okay, I'd like to move forward with the
My
vote. Is there a motion to approve
Oh, no, you,
approve the September 25 minutes?
I have Chair, just a point of clarification before I vote. At the board meeting on Wednesday, will you be carrying forth our comments regarding the minutes?
Yes, I will be making these comments and I'll try not to use the AI too much, but hopefully I'll summarize them properly. And make mention that the July 25th minutes were disapproved because of our concern with the minutes. Yes. Okay. So at this point, are there any further member? Oh, thank you, Davis. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a quick comment, and that's to say that in the last meeting, we discussed trying to find some kind of middle ground between
Yep.
what obviously what the May minutes looked like and the July minutes. And I think I understand and appreciate that there's work that goes into that. Having formerly been a local government reporter, I used to be the minutes person that went and took down the details and tracked, what issues had traction and how many people agreed on a certain thing or not, so on and so forth. And I just want to, I guess, reiterate that if we can find something a little bit more substantial for meeting minutes, it would be tremendously helpful. We're a member of, I don't know if there are 14, 15 of us, several different cities, mostly remotely tuning in. We don't have local journalism covering these meetings or the board of directors meetings. There's some onus, I think, like in the spirit of what the agency is, to provide more than the outcome of a motion and decision. So until we can find a balance or compromise, or you can give us clarity on when you'll be providing, a kind of AI pilot summary, like I'm gonna have a hard time supporting minutes that don't do to be honest, I think it's even lower than the bare minimum for keeping people informed on what a civic dialogue was. And that's difficult work for sure. But until we have stronger local journalism, yeah, that's going to be my position with all due respect.
No, that is, that's very poignant, Davis. And I agree, looking at transcripts or reading through a whole transcript, maybe 5% of the population might do that. I'm just projecting. And then maybe somebody watching the whole meeting might be another 5%, and then 90% of the people will be looking at minutes. So it's a very important document. So, yeah, we need to get this right. Thank you very much. Are there any further comments before we take a vote on the September 2025 minutes? Okay, Adrian, can you please?
So we would need a motion.
Oh, do we have a motion?
You cannot phrase it negatively, correct?
But you could vote against your.
I'm gonna vote against my motion. Motion to approve the September minutes.
Any seconds for the approval of the minutes? Pete,
Yes, this is Pete. I'll second the motion.
thank you, Pete. Thank you. All right, so we can move forward with the vote.
Great, thank you. Member Ledger.
Abstain.
Member Weiner.
No.
Member Stevenson.
Yes.
Member Latro.
Abstain.
Member Checa.
No.
Member Harper.
No, and in the meeting minutes, please communicate to the board why. Thank you.
We'll do.
Member Lewis.
No.
Chair Super.
No.
Minutes not approved.
Well, that will conclude our discussion on the meeting minutes for July and September. And at this point, I'd like to move on to our next item, which is item C5, which is the 2024 power content. And it's a very. Oh, my apologies. Can I back up? I'm so sorry. The chair report for the board meeting for September. Forgive me, Ed. All right, he wrote some very detailed notes. And he did present to the board of directors a summary of current concerns, recommendations, and updates regarding the Community Advisory Committee. And the first was he gave the chair CAC report, and that the CAC expressed concern regarding the current format of meeting minutes, which focuses solely on action items. And members noted that they would like to see additional context and commentary that would help refresh recollection and provide clarity on prior discussions. Chair Anderson directed staff to explore alternative approaches for more comprehensive minutes. And it was not a non-actionable item at that time. And so there were some public comments and some CAC recommendations on the customer program's strategic roadmap, which is another deep subject. And the public comments voiced strong support for the CAC involvement throughout the development of the strategic roadmap and engagement with a selected consultant that maybe in the next month or so will be selected. And the CAC has requested the following actions from the board. The CAC would like to help with the consultant selection and include selected board and CAC members in the review and selection process during the RFP phase. And there would a recommendation for more public engagement, ensure engagement efforts are geographically distributed across AVA's service territory, including Stockton, Tri-Valley, South County, and North County, and to be accessible virtually. Early input require that public engagement occurs early in the RFP process, particularly during market assessments, program concept development, and metric design. Fourth, expand roadmap process, initiate an additional roadmap effort with early and meaningful community engagement. And this is to address the full scope of AVA operations and strategic planning for regulatory, legislative, market, and technological opportunities and risks. And we'll take note that this item was tabled for future agenda consideration, which is something that the CAC is hoping for in the near future. Then the third item is the Rate Stabilization Fund, or RSF, policy and budget surplus allocation. The CAC supported the following surplus allocation recommendation. And we reported from our CAC meeting, we reported that, or we took a vote, and it was 85% would go to the RSF, the Rate Stabilization Fund. 10% would go to CARA-FARA, and 5% to community innovation grants. And then the board approved a modified allocation where the board voted for 90% to RSF, which is the Rate Stabilization Fund, and 10% to CARA-FARA customer credits. And member Tragub requested further discussion on establishing a local development grant fund, potentially administered via foundations pass-through or directly through AVA staff in collaboration with the CAC and the board. And this item too was deferred to a future agenda. And the fourth mention is a credit facility agreement. The board approved a new 300 million credit facility agreement with PNC Bank, replacing the previous agreement with US Bank. And this will provide additional financial flexibility for AVA's operational and strategic needs. And the CAC report was presented with a potential follow-up, again, with discussion anticipated at the MRL committee. I don't have the acronym.
Marketing legislating.
Oh, thank you so much. And then two public commenters expressed support for more detailed minutes and endorsed the CAC's recommendations, actions for the strategic roadmap. So those were some public comments. And that ends the chair's report. Thank you, Ed. Very detailed. Now I would like to move on to the next item.
Oh, public.
Oh, member comments.
There are no there are no hands raised at this time.
No hands raised. Any hands raised from the members? No hands raised on the CAC chair report to the board. So now we can move on to the item C5, which is the 2024 power content. And this is a board informational item.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Actually, if you could bring up the PDF that has a table with the PCL in it, that would be great, just as a reference. That don't know me, my name is Izzy Carson. I sit on the Power Resources team here at AVA. I manage the carbon-free and REC portfolio, and one of the responsibilities in my role is to prepare the Power Source Disclosure Report, or PSDR report, which is really a requirement of all load-serving entities. This informational item was put together in response to a recent request by the board that staff provide an update on AVA's 24 power content following completion of the audit. So for each year's filing, AVA is required to do two things. One, submit the annual report, that PSDR report, to the California Energy Commission, or CEC. It details the actual resource mix for the previous calendar year. And two, provide an annual power content label to customers, showing the percentage breakdown by resource type. So under the CEC's regulations, private retail electricity suppliers have to engage with an auditor. That's to verify the accuracy and the completeness of the data submitted in their PSDR filing. However, public agencies have an option to either do a self-attestation or engage with an auditor. In May of 2024, AVA's board requested that AVA fulfill its PSDR reporting obligation through engagement with an auditor. So for this year, 2024 filing, this is actually our second year. AVA is engaged with an auditor to verify the data for this filing. The audit was completed on October 1st, so just a few weeks ago. And the associated power content label was posted on AVA's website, and it's also included obviously as a table in the memo as well for reference. So again, the PSDR filing requires all electricity, the program requires all electricity providers in California to submit this annual report. It discloses the source of power that was purchased for their customers during a calendar year. And it shows every megawatt hour of electricity purchased by source, so renewable technology, large hydro, et cetera. And all of the information in this power content label comes from the underlying data in that PSDR filing. The PCL, or this power content label, is really meant to share with customers in what's intended to be an easy to understand format where their power comes from by source for a given calendar year. So visually, you can see it's very similar to like a nutrition label. It displays the power mix for each of AVA's plans, and it shows the California utility average there on the right, and that's done to allow customers to compare their content and emissions to the statewide California average. In terms of preparation of the PSDR filing, staff is looking at the delivered recs, which are tracked in Regis, and taking that generation, comparing it against all the invoices that have been received over the year, comparing it to contracts for accuracy. Similarly, on the carbon-free side, they're looking at ETAG data and meter data and ETAG data, and again, comparing that against all the invoices received over the course of the year and contracts for verifying that for accuracy. Retail sales are validated through our accountant, and those numbers serve as our system of record on all of AVA's filings. And then all of that data is populated into a CEC template with the electricity purchases in that generation from over the course of the calendar year. In terms of the actual audit, the procedure involves validation of a number of things. First, they're looking at facility information. So everything that we've listed as an RPS eligible resource, they're looking to see that it is in fact RPS eligible. They're looking to validate the RPS ID and the Regis ID, and depending on the technology, also the EIA ID that we've included in the filing. They're looking at retail sales as well to make sure that we've included the correct number. Obviously, the percentages there are based on our retail sales, so they're looking at validating that. They're looking at generation and retirement data, making sure that for each rec that we've received, that the recs have been retired in the appropriate sub-account in Regis and are tracked appropriately. They're also looking at invoicing and contractual verification. So making sure that every invoice that we've received over the course of the year was invoiced for the appropriate volume that ties back to the contracts that they should be, that the resources that were supposed to deliver on those contracts were delivered appropriately. And overall, they're also looking at mathematical accuracy within the report, making sure all the numbers tick and tie. So as I mentioned, the 2024 audit was finalized on October 1st. It's been submitted to the CEC already, and I'm pleased to report that there were no exceptions found to the filing. So in terms of the update, that kind of finishes the update that in terms of the audit and filing, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Uh, I have several questions. One of which I think you answered. How much of the fraction of retail sales of Ava's retail sales are Bright Choice and how much are the Renewable 100?
Oh, that's a good question. That's actually not in the power content label. Sure, yeah, he's asking what percentage of the total retail sales is Bright Choice versus Renewable 100? I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I can definitely get it for you.
Okay. And I had a question about the power source disclosure report versus the power content label, but from your description, the power content label is a very succinct summary of what's included in the power source disclosure report.
Yes, that's correct. The
And
PSDR
there's-
filing is a very complex, very large report, and then the power content label is more or less a summary that's more easily digestible than the PSDR filing. But yes, all that data comes directly from the PSDR filing.
And there's probably required ways of filling it out and formulas and all that.
Yeah, it's a CEC template that they released that we have to populate it in a particular format,
Okay.
and that the PCL pulls that data in a particular format.
Couple other questions. Starting in, I think it's 2027, we have to report hourly emissions. Am I remembering that correctly?
2028, yeah,
2020.
Yes.
Okay.
it's coming though.
What are the difference? What's going to be the differences?
There's a different template for sure that's going to be populated. So this PCL will look quite a bit different in 2028 compared to how it looks now. It's not quite finalized. There's still some details to be worked out. And it's unclear whether that's really going to be released in 2028 or whether it'll pushed out. I think there's still a lot of work to do.
I'm assuming that, for example, the Renewable 100, the power content label says it's all 100% renewable, but I can't imagine that Ava is able to buy 100% renewable 100% of the hours of the year. So for 100% renewable, we'll actually get dirty.
So the tracking is actually looking at what hours that generation is coming from, and it will be weighted. There will be more valuable hours for sure than other hours, but it's still really to be determined. There's kind of a lot of uncertainty in how that's going to play out in the actual filing and what we'll be responsible for reporting on. I think that in the coming year or two, I think we'll have more information and be able to report out on that, but it's still very much up in the air.
Okay. My guess is that the way the current RECs or renewable portfolio requirements are is for the 100% renewable, Ava has to purchase enough renewable power kilowatt hours to say, yeah, we purchased that many kilowatt hours, even, I'm speaking the current scheme, even if some of them were not purchased at certain hours.
That's correct. Yeah, right now it's done on an annual basis. So we look at the megawatt hour as a whole of renewable 100 customers. And then we buy an equivalent number of megawatt hours of renewable electricity to offset that.
Beyond, and some of that's just the renewable attribute and some of the electricity that Ava has. The electricity is dirty, but we bought renewable attributes enough to cover that.
Well, no, the electricity under Renewable 100 right now is coming off entirely from wind and solar resources. And located 100% in California. Yeah.
100% of the hours of the year? I can't imagine that.
No, I mean, the PSDR filing is really, it's like an accounting methodology. So it's not looking at the electrons, it's looking at accounting methodology and whether we procured an equivalent number of RECs for the usage of the customers on that plan.
Okay. So it's when this new plan goes into effect, it's likely to make at least the 100% renewable look dirtier, even though there in reality, there might not have been a change.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear still how that's going to play out in 2028. The template's not even finalized at this point, but it's something that we'll definitely be looking at more closely over the coming years.
And then the 2024 year was actually a very clean year because there was so much hydro resource available. And it's likely, especially if we get into a drought, that we won't be able to have as clean of electricity.
Yeah, for 2024, we did have a tremendous water year. And I'd say for 2025, we're looking really good for water year too, but you're correct. There's going to be years that are drought years and there's going to be years that are very strong hydro years. And it's hard there's a lot of variability there and it's really hard for us to pinpoint how that's going to shake out. But that's something that we look at very closely every year as well. We try to look at it from a conservative point. A lot of that comes from our PG&E allocation, which there's a lot of uncertainty with the delivery there. So
Right.
that'll definitely fluctuate year over year. That the hydro specifically goes entirely in Bright Choice though.
Oh, okay.
Just to answer your previous question, actually, I have a colleague that provided me the breakout. So Bright Choice is almost 69%, so 68.75%, and Renewable 100 is 31.25% of the total retail sales.
Okay. And this is a more general question for my own understanding. I can understand, what does Ava have to purchase? I understand purchasing megawatt hours because we need electricity. Do we have to purchase renewable energy credits?
We do. As part of the RPS program, we do have a minimum state requirement that we have to meet. ABLE's internal targets are quite a bit above the minimum that the state requires, but yes, we do have a renewable content or a renewable target that all LLCs in California have to abide by.
And then we purchase resource adequacy. We purchase resource adequacy.
We do, yes. That's another product that we are required to procure. But it's separate from RECs or.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there other products that Ava's required to purchase on that scale?
No, those are really the main ones. Yeah, resource adequacy and the RPS requirements.
And of course, megawatt hours.
Right.
What, how big are what fraction of Ava's bulk purchase or commodity purchases are each of those?
I'm sorry, what portion are?
How big how much money do we have to spend in each of those bins?
Oh, gosh, I don't have that in front of me either. I'm not sure that would tie back to what our budget is for each of the each fiscal year, but.
And obviously it'll change depending on the mix of solar and wind versus not. And, if we're purchasing more solar and wind megawatt hours, we obviously I hope we get their renewable credits.
Yeah, any solar or wind resource definitely will have renewable energy credits associated with the generation. Absolutely.
But do we have to pay for those credits separately from the?
No, they come in with that's by definition, that's the PCC one credit that's
Okay, so we
generated
get
with
those
electricity.
when we get those.
Exactly,
megawatt-
yeah.
But for the 1 megawatt hours that don't come with that, we have to buy RECs.
Well, every long-term resource that we have that is a wind or a solar resource, or if there's geothermal, any of those technologies, any generation that comes from those resources will definitely have the RECs associated with them come through as well. They're tracked in Regis and they're required to deliver contractually. They have to deliver them.
But the power that we buy the unspecified power wouldn't come with those. We'd have to buy if. I'm just trying to get a sense of how big of a budget. How big is the budget for megawatt hours versus RECs versus resource adequacy? Is resource adequacy like 1%? Megawatt hours is 95%. Resource adequacy is a pain in the ass to procure and make sure we have enough, but it doesn't cost that much, or is it really expensive and big part of our budget?
I mean, I think that,
And, if you don't have that, I'm not gonna.
yeah, I definitely
keep
don't
you
have
on
the
the
breakdown of
spot.
how the budget, how the budget is broken out between those two products, for this year. But what I can say is that those price or the budgets actually change year to year. It depends on the market, really.
Yeah.
We've definitely had years where there was a very high priced market, and years where it's come back down. So it really fluctuates quite a bit.
And probably fluctuates as the regulations are changed too.
Yeah, and also as a function of supply and demand and weather and
Okay. I was just trying to get a sense of how important they are, other than causing headaches. That's it.
Did you, sorry, Peter, could you, make a comment, please?
I have a couple of questions. One clarification. RECs don't only come with GHG-free sources of energy, right?
That's correct, yeah.
They come with biomass.
yes. Biomass resources are still included as our RPS eligible technology. So,
Yeah.
but yes, they
Yeah.
do.
I know they are.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
also different flavors of RECs. So PCC ones versus PCC twos.
Right. And on the biomass, just as a question, are we buying into the BioRam contracts that do high hazard fuel combustion from forests as part of the wildfire protection plan? Is that what we buy?
We have a couple of different, I guess what I would call buckets for biomass. One is a short-term contract related to BioRam, which is ending next, I think it's actually 2027. There's also a couple of short-term contracts that have, typically our PCC2 contracts have a pool of resources that sellers allowed to deliver from. Where as we moving closer to our 2030 goal, phasing out any resources that have emissions. So there are still some contracts that have biomass in them now, but they are being phased out. That's kind of a smaller percentage. Those are PCC2 specific. And then there's also PG&E, kind of a third PG&E bucket that has some biomass resources in them.
I mean, I think the BioRam contracts have to be renewed if possible, right? You have to make an effort to renew the 2027 one.
No, we don't have to make an effort to renew them. It's a short-term specific.
Okay, because PG&E.
PG&E probably has to, but not.
But not CCH.
I think it depends on the terms of the contract. I'm not familiar with other contracts that are pulling from that pool, but I know the contract that we have is a short-term contract and it ends in 2027.
And on the chart that you showed us, all of that power, including hydropower and so on, is power that Ava buys. This is none of the PG&E list.
It's a combination, actually. So the hydro specifically, we do get a PG&E hydro allocation, and that's a good portion of what's showing up here as large hydro.
Right.
And so there's also a different allocation that shows up in here, but the majority, I would say, is long-term PPAs. So those are contracts that we enter into for generation from wind resources or solar resources, and then short-term contracts that are very short in nature, so 1 to 3 years generally.
I'm trying to get at a question that I thought Jim wanted to ask, but maybe he didn't, which is when we look at the chart, my impression had been is that if you look at BrightSource and the composition of that, there's obviously some emitting sources in there. But my sense was that that's not power that Ava buys. My sense is that's something you get or we get from PG&E, but we are not reaching out to do PPAs with gas or whatever.
Right.
What percentage of Ava's purchases of power other than from PG&E, but AVA PPAs are done with non-emission free sources.
So I think when when you're looking at the emissions intensity, which is that top bar up there, those are really two drivers that contribute to that. And I have the breakdown here too. Here we go. Yeah, so on that top line there, that GHG emissions intensity, that number is really, there's two primary factors that contribute to that. So one is, Ian, you hit on it earlier, is unspecified power, and that's that line on the bottom there. And then the second is the PCC2 rec procurement. And so for the unspecified power, that's really, we don't know the generator or the generators that energy comes from. So it's assigned it's assigned an emissions factor that's intended to be reflective of the average emissions level in the electric system, which I believe right now is weighted towards gas. For PCC2s, which are by and large renewable, solar, wind, and small hydro. Those are also assigned an emissions factor equivalent to unspecified power. Those together make up almost the entirety of that emissions intensity on the top there.
Ernie.
I have a question, two questions, which are not directly part of your report. Maybe you have this in your head, or maybe you can get it for us, but I'd be interested to see what our power content, GG, is compared to the other CCAs and to PG&E directly. Do you happen to know those?
I don't, our audit was just completed a few weeks ago, and the October 1st filing requirement is the same for all LLCs. So I definitely don't have a comparison chart against all of the other CCAs at this time. We could have to certainly put that together, but I don't have.
It would be, thank you. So it would be interesting to see how we stack up against the other CCAs and of course against PG&E. Correctly. Thank you.
I'm actually pleased with this chart. I remember a few years ago, there was quite a bit of concern regarding especially the unspecified power, which was quite high in comparison with some of the other CCAs. And I'm pleased. I understand that this was a banner year for the hydroelectric, which is great. But it looks like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking at the prior several years, the power content label data, you can see our emissions intensity has gone from, in 2021, it was at 564, 2022 down to 496, 23, 370, and now 24 and 221. So it's definitely moving along the trajectory towards our 2030 goals. And similarly, the renewable content has been increasing year over year, and that's the emissions reduction is partially due to a reduction in PCC2s along that same trajectory, so an increase in PCC1s.
So are
Definitely
we,
moving in the right direction.
Are we happy? Are we on track? I know we had some goals last year that we were talking about as far as going completely renewable. Are we on track for that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the end of it. Are we
So-
on track for our 2030 goal?
Yeah, I think there was a 2028 or something along those lines that we would be almost 100% renewable. I can't remember the date, but is it looking pretty good to be on track for that?
So our current, we do have a 2030, 100% carbon free target. We're definitely on track for that.
2030, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, very good. And it would be great if, when you do your presentation, if you could use comparison years. That would be a great illustration of how well you guys have improved and worked really hard. So I want to give a shout out for how hard you guys have worked to reduce the unspecified power and any CO2 greenhouse gases.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I just want to lessen by over half over the course of 4 years is pretty impressive for what all the staff have done. Hopefully we keep going like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Landry.
Yes, I'm also impressed. I think you know, the Bright Choice is getting 62% eligible renewables. I think that's great with 34% large hydro. I know for some folks, large hydro can be somewhat controversial, but I like the fact that we have large hydro as opposed to nuclear. And then we have 4% unspecified. And I think when we compare it, if I'm looking at this chart correctly, to the California utility average, the RPS for the state is 45%, and we are at 62%. I think that's great. And for renewable 100, we are using solar and wind. I think that's again great. And I see that the unspecified power state average, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is 22%, and ours is at 4%. I mean, these are really great metrics. Now, I do want to ask, in 2025, do we anticipate more nuclear in our portfolio?
Nuclear, I would say so, yes. So there was an approval for ABA to accept the nuclear allocation from PG&E that started in 2025. So it has historically not been in our power content label or a PSCR filing. So definitely there will be some portion of or some percentage of nuclear that's going to be attributed to that on the next filing. But that is also going to be reducing our unspecified emissions on the
It'll be
PCL.
reducing the 4% that we,
Reducing that line, yes.
okay.
It's unclear at this time what the final numbers for 2025 will be. We haven't received all the deliveries. They're actually a several month lag on renewable energy credits, so we don't even have anything past the summer. But you know, come kind of March, April is when we start finalizing what the numbers for the prior year look like. There's just quite a bit of a reporting lag. I don't know right now where it's going to be,
Right.
but
And lastly, natural gas, do we expect to continue it at, looks like we have 0.
yeah, we shouldn't have any natural gas in our portfolio. You know, we haven't, and I don't expect that to be in our portfolio moving forward.
Well, this is great. I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. Thank you for your hard work.
Well, thank you very much, Izzy.
Thanks.
Ms. Carson. At this moment, I'd like to ask if there were any hands raised from the public for any comments.
There are no hands raised at this time.
It's quiet out there today. Crickets. Any members have any comments regarding the power content label or questions, further questions? And seeing that there's no further member comments, and this was an informational item, I'd like to move on. At this point, we'd like to go to the ad hoc reports. I'm just going to make mention that Indira is out of town, and she chairs the ad hoc committee for the affordability. I believe there's some items coming up and some guests that she's inviting for another ad hoc that's going to be due early in November. I was looking for the date, but there's going to be another ad hoc meeting. And I'll try and find that date for the minutes. And that now I'd like to move over to the ad hoc committee for the LDBP, a long-term business plan. Jim, are you ready to give that report?
Yeah, it's also very quick. We met on November 1st. Anyways, we met earlier, not November 1st. October 1st. We met earlier this month. We are working on coming up with a proposal for what sort of strategic roadmap we'd like to ask AVA to undertake for beyond just the programs, the local programs. But at this point, we're in the middle of those discussions and we're meeting with outside experts and trying to figure out what comes in. So
Let me ask a question then. So would we like to, at some point in time, bring this forward to the board for any assistance with future roadmap? Some sort of proposal?
yeah, but the ad hoc will bring it first to the CAC. And I don't think we'll be ready to bring it to the one in November,
To the board.
to the CAC meeting or the board request to the board for the November meeting. I don't think we're getting it.
Thank you, Jim. Are there any member or any public comments for the ad hocs, the LDBP ad hoc or the energy affordability ad hoc? No.
There are no
public
hands
comments.
raised at this time.
I'd like to ask our members if anybody has any suggestions or comments. Seeing none.
For future discussion.
Any comments?
Something I've been thinking about a long time, but on 91.7 today, on your call, there was a call about AI, and the researcher that they were interviewing had talked to a Bay Area CCA. I think it was Silicon Valley they talked to, I'm not sure. But they were bringing up, you know, as we all know, this huge demand that's been created by this worthless disruptive technology. I would be interested, and if the board has already discussed this or looked at this, I missed it. Knowing how much, if any, power AVA is supplying to any AI facilities or are planning to, and whether or not there should be consideration by the board to refuse to power them or to power them only at a premium or other conditions. The AI demand is collectively increasing usage in greenhouse gas emissions, and it is raising prices for everybody. So that's something that all of those factors and others that we could talk for 10 minutes about affect this agency, what it does, and our community members. So I would be interested, like in first step, just having an inventory about whether or not we are currently supplying any, if we're in negotiations to supply any power I know we supply power to data centers, but if we're doing, if we're, and I don't even know how you draw the fine line between a data center and an AI data center. But basically, I'd be interested in having an audit and a discussion about what the agency's policy should be moving forward on providing or not providing power to AI data centers.
Maybe a supplement to that would be a report from staff on plans for supplying AI power for AI. What their forecasts and plans and contingencies for it.
I think that's kind of what I was asking for discussion on, but.
Yeah, but they, I've heard Howard allude to it a couple times, but I haven't heard a description of what contingencies or thoughts, projections, high and what first, the range of possible power projections.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I think it'd be good to have it from staff first. So we know what the plans are, or what they see as the risks and plans. I mean,
Annie must have been back on this.
okay.
Yeah, thank you, Annie. Hi. Oh, we can't hear you.
Apologies, I was double muted, both my phone and on the computer. Are you hearing an echo or is that just me?
Yes, we are hearing you. A little bit.
Okay,
No,
but you
you're
don't hear an
Annie.
echo.
No echo.
Okay, all right, thank you all. I just wanted to respond quickly to that. We have been putting a lot of thought and attention into, we discuss them just as data centers because it's the data centers that run the AI models. So we don't really make a clear distinction between the two, but I think the intent of what you're discussing is what is represented by our internal discussions around data centers. We've definitely been looking at this. The CEC has a forecast of data center growth. We have worked with an external consultant to analyze the data that is available, as well as some sort of proprietary market data that they were able to acquire to think about what kind of load growth we might experience within our service territory. We have a job opening currently on the market. We are actively doing our interviews for what we're calling strategic load director. This is primarily data center load, but it could be things like, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the term for creating hydrogen, for things like the Valley Link train, the hydrogen train. So it would be carbon-free transportation and other applications. Those are also very large loads. So we're looking at what we're calling large strategic loads, and this new staff member would sit on the power resources team, but work very closely with our account services team, because these are ultimately very large customers that could be moving into the service territory, and we want to both have a plan for how we will serve them. But I will definitely take back to the team, I'm not part of that hiring team, but I will take back to them your comments around not so much how we serve them, but if we serve them. I don't think that is something that we have contemplated. We haven't had this discussion in the public forum, partly because we were sort of actively doing this work with consultants in the background. We weren't in a position to present it all. We're bringing on staff to focus exclusively on this issue, but also because there are some policy issues that we are working through. PG&E is ready, willing, and eager to serve this load, and we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to serve this load, so that we can sort of make certain that it is being served by the cleanest energy possible, that we are managing it for reliability and resiliency of the grid. So we are actively working on this, and I anticipate we will be bringing items to the board related to data center load once we have this new staff member on and have a little bit more sort of market data analysis and concrete information to present, and then to present sort of the various scenarios and decisions that the board will need to guide us on.
Thank you, Annie. Don't go too far away. I have a question for you. As far as PG&E is concerned, and I just got smacked with another customer that really got hit with the transmission and distribution charges on their bill. And this was This was an SVC, the Silicon Valley Power customer, not an AVA customer, but the transmission charges or the distribution charges are grid charges, so to speak, are very, very high. Wouldn't it be wonderful to just plant a seed and say, we'll take care of the transmission too? At that point, if we're building, if they're building new plants or facilities, what if Ava decided they were going to supplement the grid? Because I know that that's going to be big for PG&E, but it could be a wonderful investment for Ava, just planting a seed.
Yeah, I think it is very long-term thinking, but I believe there is some internal conversation about how do we think about transmission line asset ownership under AVA, but that is pretty far off in the future. A lot to contemplate before we moved in that direction.
So, so thank you, Annie, for sharing what you guys, the preliminaries of what you guys are thinking and that you're hiring someone to consider that. I will say that PG&E is just a for-profit corporation that's going to provide power for anyone that wants it. They don't care about public policy, good or bad for the community. They provide power. We are a different animal. We provide power, but literally our board is made up of elected members of the community leaders. And I think it is a question that needs to be discussed about whether or not we even provide powers to them. Your point about, yes, we want the grid to be stable, you know, because we're all on the same grid. But I think there is a larger question that definitely to be discussed before we provide power about whether or not we should or not. And if we do, whether or not that we demand provisions that PG&E couldn't nor never would want to. So thank you for sharing with what you want to have. I hope the chair brings this up before the board. And I mean, this will be something we have to flesh out, but I think this is a conversation that we need to start having, possibly broader than you guys are already looking at. But thank you.
I'd like to, this item should be agendized if we continue this discussion any further.
Yeah, but we'll move on now. So that was, are there any other? Sorry.
Just one more question while you're still there and aren't double muted. In terms, is AVA worried about transmission constraints in terms of serving data centers and AI? Because I certainly hear that that's what, like the Data Center Coalition just was in LinkedIn or wherever it was with a big interview saying that that's their principal concern. And I'm just concerned that in terms of us serving people as opposed to machines, that transmission constraints might be huge.
I mean, clearly that is part of the equation because we are not responsible for that portion. It's not where we're focused our sort of analysis and research at this time. But yeah, I mean, the amount of additional load that could be brought on by data centers throughout our service territory is quite significant. And so we are analyzing all of the various impacts and how to address it. And some of them may not be directly addressed by AVA, but we certainly want to be aware of them.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Andy. At this time, are there any further comments from the public? Any questions, hands raised?
There are no hands raised this time.
Are there any further member comments? Questions? Okay. I'd like to close that item for the ad hocs. And at this time, there are no action items. And I'd like to move to requests to place items on the future agenda.
That's what we're doing, yeah.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. Is there any further requests for future agenda items? Hearing none. I'm going to, it's 7:34, and I'd like to end the meeting. And thank everybody who was involved. I missed the public, wondering where they are. And thank you all. The meeting is adjourned.
Maybe, this may be the shortest of them.